morning, good morning. I am going to be having my coffee with some espresso in it. It's already almost gone as I prep for this. And we are going to be making, it's a really fun technique for crochet. I love doing it because it works up really fast. And it lets you really kind of make some pixelated like images. It lets you really write words. If you like a lot of animated characters, you can do a lot with those and easily make like portraits of people with this. This is called C2C, and that's corner to corner. So on this piece right now, I'm working it as a rectangle. It's going to be a scarf of the Grinch. So here's his face. And this is the corner I started in. And, well, I started right here. And it goes in that kind of angle. So on my last row, it's corner to corner. Sometimes people will make them in a square shape. But you increase until you hit the length you want, and then one side will be keeping that the same while you are growing the other side to keep the shape. And then eventually when you got the length, you bring in both sides to get that corner. So I will show you how to do that today. And because when we do coffee and crochet here, we are making a coffee cozy as you learn the stitch, so you have something you can use or sell at a vendor event. So what's neat about this too is you can actually make your own designs very easily with Stitch Fiddle, and I will show it to you at the end of the video. I did do a quick drawing right here of the layout of how we're going to do our coffee cozy today. I've done corner to corner for coffee cozies before, and I use a 4.5 millimeter hook. And it's 5 blocks tall and 15 long, and then you will sew the two ends together. So after you get the hang of this, if you don't want to make it look like the Grinch, you can go. If you do want to make it look like the Grinch, after I kind of get this going, I'm going to put in snippets in the video to make it quicker for you to follow along to get it finished with the pattern. If you're new here, I do American terms. So double crochet, as I talk about, is not the same as UK terms. So get out that 4.5 millimeter hook, and we're gonna get started. Really, once you get those first 3 stitches in, or first 3 blocks, the rest is very repetitive. So we're going to make our slip knot however you prefer. And then we are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're going to take your yarn over for your double crochet. We're doing this in double crochet, but so you know, you can do it in half double. Instead of having a chain of 3, you would have a chain of 2 with the half double, and it changes the size of your squares. So we're going to count down to the 4th chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put our hook in there and do a double crochet. You're now going to do a double crochet in the 2 remaining chains. So you should, when we are done, have a block that is a chain, slot, and 3 double crochets. So like this. It will even out as you move along, so don't stress that it looks kind of like a point almost. It'll all even out, and that too will depend on how tight you're making your stitches. So now we're going to make the second block, and we're going to again chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again go down to the 4th chain from the hook and do a double crochet. And do a double crochet in the remaining 2 chains. And now you're going to take this and you're going to bump it up against your first block. And when you do that, it should be coming up to where your chain 3 is. I'm going to bring this in a little so you guys get a better view. So I have the first square. I have the second square done right here. I want to push it up, bump it up against this first one where that chain 3 is, and slip stitch it together like that and chain 3. 2, 3. This is the start now of my 3rd block, and it's going to go on that chain 3. So now we're going to do 3 double crochets. Oops, pulled it all tight and it fell off. Okay, so now we have our first 3 blocks, and they should look like this. And now when we build up, we're going to make a block, and it's going to attach right here first to make another one here and attach to make another. So each time you essentially are going to add another until you're done growing it. So for reference on this, we just did this one and this one and this one. So now I'm going to do that row. It's important to keep track of where you're at, and this gives us a visual. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So it's all green. We don't have to do a color change yet. So now, since we're still growing it, I'm going to chain 6 again. You do not always have to chain 6. As you just seen a second ago, I did the slip stitch into the other chain row and then chain 3. So it depends on where you're at in this block pattern to if you're chaining 6 or 3. If you're doing half doubles, it would be 5 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now again, the 4th one and 3 double crochets. Once we get moving on this and we have all of our colors in, I will speed through the video to make it not as long. So there we go. And now again, we're going to attach it to this previous one. It's going to be on that chain row. So it will slip stitch and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to take this one, and again, where that chain row is in the next one, we're going to go through, slip stitch, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. So now we have 3 there. So it grew by 1. So now we're going to come here and do that. So now we know we have to start with white this row, and then I'll have 3 green. So I will show you that color change quick. As I'm getting prepped for that color change, if you are having any problems with this so far because of the slip stitch to the chain 3 or the double crochet, any of those base stitches, refer down to the description to other videos I have done of tutorials to help with that. So if you just watched, and this is a personal preference, I undid the last yarn over pull through of the double crochet. So I have 2 loops on my hook so I can insert my white. You can change colors however you want. I do this seamlessly so that way as I start my white, it is all white. There's not a green blend into it. And that lets me have very smooth blocks. So now I'm just going to pull it through like I would have the green normally. And now my white is ready. And so now my block starts with white. One, and I will do that again in the video when I color change in a second so you can see it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to double check. Okay, so I'm going to double crochet into the 4th chain, just as usual. This pattern doesn't change. That is the pattern for the block. So once you have that pattern down, it's just a matter of where you are in your pattern to, if you are chaining 3 or 6, or if you're doing half double crochet, 5 and 2. So now, see how I did that? Now I'm gonna come in here and I should be yarning over, but I need green. I didn't prepare that. So there's 2 ways you can do this, and because we don't actually work into those stitches, doing this is going to leave a line. So I'm going to cut that and weave it in later. Oops. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take my hook back through those previous 2 that I did my last yarn over pull through and pull out that white. I'm going to reattach my green now. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull it through. That way when I come over here and do my slip stitch, it's in green, so my entire square is in green. 1, 2, and 3. And do my 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to continue doing this all the way down like we have been. I'm going to continue on with the video paused and get to that last one and bring us back to where we're doing now. Okay, I'm putting in the last double crochet in that last block for this row. You should have 3 green blocks and a white block. And so if I flip it like that, now it matches what we've done here. And I'm going to grab my pen and we're going to mark it off. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 3 green, a white, and then a red. So I'm going to get started here, and then I will pause the video until I get to the white to show you again the color change and leave it on to get through the red. Once we get that red on, we're going to change how we do stuff a little because we're no longer growing the length of our piece. So just a reminder, now that we're getting ready to get started on that row, we're going to chain 6. And then you're going to double crochet in the 4th chain of your chains. And I will see you once we get to white. Okay, I'm back, and I did not finish this last double crochet because I have to switch colors because the white is in a row going across, so I have to put white right here. So I'm gonna look over here and go, okay, can I My yarn is being crazy. I'm gonna look at this and go, okay, is there a way for me to bring this yarn over and use it? And the answer is yes, without having to cut it out. And that's nice because it minimizes what you have to weave in. So I'm just gonna pull this over and I'm gonna leave it a little loose and pull it through. And then, and you don't have to do that. If you're not comfortable doing that, just tie off your ends and start it how we did earlier over here. So I have that piece right there, right? And that's just me weaving it in essentially because I left it loose, but it's going across what I'm going to be crocheting over. So I'm slip stitching and then chaining 3. 3, and now I'm going to do 3 double crochets, and I'm going to make sure that white is sitting on that 3 chain of the green block, so that way I yarn over it to make my double crochet. I'm going to yarn over it again, and had I thought about it, I would have put that. In fact, I'm going to undo this to save myself some time. I'm going to take that green and also put it right there. So I'm yarning over a couple of things. And what that does is it kind of lets me weave in my ends. And you're just going to do your 3 double crochet right there. And I'm stopping. I caught myself, I almost pulled it through, so it was done, but that's my 3rd double crochet, and if I leave those 2 right there, I can now attach the red. Okay, now I'm attaching the red, and we're about to get the last of our height on this hat. So I'm gonna now pull it through. And bring all those yarns back here. I like to keep the yarns all on one side, so if I can do that weaving in, I now have a definitive back to front. So now I slip stitch through 1, 2, and 3, and 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. But now we're in a predicament, right? Because we can't chain up 6 because we'll make it taller. We don't want it taller. We want it to continue out. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and turn our work now. And we're just going to slip stitch through those 3 stitches to bring us back over to that chain 3. So now we can work that chain 3 like we would in the other spots and move us down this way. So to show you guys our progress, we just did this row, which you can't see because I'm using pink. And now we're getting ready to do this row. So now from here on out until we get towards the end, you're always going to be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks because we have 5 rows. So I will show you now how we do this. So now that I came this way, I'm going to now chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put into that red 1. And on the last stitch, I gotta switch to white. 2, 3. Now I'm gonna pause and see where that white is. It's right here, and I can totally bring that up and work it right there. So I'm gonna push that to the side, pull up my white, pull it through. And then I'm going to, it might look funny as you're doing it some, but it's the same process. Sometimes that has to do with the different types of yarns you use. And now I'm going to do my normal chain 3 and 3 double crochets, and I am going to continue this down to here, and when I get down here I will come back and show you again how we turn. Okay, again we've got the 1 2 3 4 5, they're done. Oops, let me pull this out. Oops, a little more. 1 2 3 4 5, they are done. And since you don't need the details on the stitches as much now, being out shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, mumbling myself. Let me get a marker for that red because this is just not doing it. And I want to make sure you guys can see where we're at. So we just did that row. Okay. So now we're going to start here and go up. And this is going to be the same thing for 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 rows. We are going to be doing this exact same thing back and forth that we just did for the last 2. So I'm going to go ahead and speed the video through those to get us to where we start to close up our piece. But first, before I get started, I'm going to show you again that right now we build because it's going right here, which might seem weird because we do the single crochet slip stitch up here to keep it going across, which I will do one more time before I fast forward the video. So again, right here, down here at the green, you're going to 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 fourth chain. Excuse me. Get all these 3 double crochets ready in the blocks, and then you're gonna bring it up next to this one. I'm going to pause the video and meet you up at the top to show you one more time how to bring this across, and then I will speed through the other 9, I guess 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, the other 8 rows, because I'm working on number 9 now, to get us to where we close this off. So I'll be back when we get to red on this row. Okay, we are back. I've got that last block done for that row, and I'm going to bring it over and slip stitch through the previous one so they connect, and then I'm going to chain 1 and then slip stitch through those 3, double crochet on it so I can do the next row. And then I'm going to mark off where I was. So now we are going to speed through the next 8 like I mentioned, so we can get, so you can see how you close this up. Okay, so we now have 15 across, and as I said, with our little graph here that I'd made, once I got all the ones on the bottom row done, we would be starting to close it up, and that's going to happen rather quickly, just in a couple of rows. So I'm going to show you how that gets started, and then I will speed up and pause the video to minimize the time. So you're going to continue doing the red like we have been, where you, when you came up and made this one, you would chain one and then slip stitch across. That's not going to change all the way across. That is the same now. And I had started this one and realized I was on this very important row for you, so I stopped. Right now, everything is the same till we get to the end of the row, and even then, really all that's changing is how you do the last stitch of the row, because we're closing it up. And for that, what you would be doing is similar to what you did up here, you're doing up here for the red. If you chose to just keep your colors going like I did, it does minimize how many ends you have to weave in. It does, however, make the back look slightly different than the front, so you do have a definitive back, because you're going to have a spot like that, and that, and that, and that. Just it's secured and it's tight against the project you're making, but it is a line that is going across the pieces that is definitively not doing what everything else is doing. So that is showing that it's the back and this is the front. You don't have to do it like that. In fact, I don't let that happen on blankets. I just weave in a million ends completely for the visual appeal. But for something like this, like a little coffee cozy, and just learning how to do the corner by corner method, I do not feel that it's necessary, and weaving it in lets us save time on an item that is quick like this. Okay, I've done one green. I'm only going to do one more green, and you'll see. So I'm going to go into this one just like we normally do, make the block just like we normally do with the 3 chain and the 3 double crochet. And then but because we only go 15 squares across, this is the end of that second row. So I'm going to do a slip stitch in, chain 1, and do the same thing I did on the reds, and slip stitch across the edge of this green that I just made, so I can go and make my next row. And this is going to be great, guys, because you're going to see you're now going to be done with green, because now we're going to put that green right here, and all that's going to be left is white and red. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to just try and whip this up really fast because we are almost done. Okay. So then I'll come here. I'll bring this over, slip it through, and then, oh, okay, that's the front. I need it in the back. Need it to be consistent. Oh no, that is back. Losing my mind here. Sorry, I just hit the camera. So slip stitch in, chain 3, and we will have one more white after this. And the reason I know that is because there's only one green that doesn't have a white on it. So we are almost done, guys. It is great. Oh, so what I just did there was I wanted to make sure that the white is on this side of it so it doesn't accidentally poke out on the front and I have to like weave it in later or fight with it to get it back where it needs to be. So it's just easier to reposition all the yarns. Okay, so again, we're not letting this grow taller, so we're going to slip stitch there, chain 1, and then slip stitch across it to go over. And then chain 3 and put into this 1, 2. When you shrink it, you get to do as you're going. It really like makes those rows go fast. So that's why I said we'll be done in just a moment because we're done with green and we're about to be done with white. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So then all we'll have left is a couple blocks with red. Okay, and so now, because we don't need to grow, we're just closing it off. Again, we're just going to take it through there, slip stitch, and chain 1, and then turn our work again. Sorry. They do knot up into balls like that if you have them all connected like this, and you're not really like separating them. So now I'm going to slip stitch across. And look at that, we only have 1 stitch left, so go ahead and bring it over. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. It's catching on the previous white there. And then I will bring it up and slip stitch to connect it. And then I will cut these and there's green, here it is. Sorry about that. Cut the green. And so then I will tie off these ends, but I don't think I left enough red. Maybe. I left longer ends so that way I could bring them out to the side and sew these edges together like so. So then it'll just be one solid piece. So now it is done, other than sewing the back. You can do that on your own with any preferred stitch method. I just recommend that you put it inside out when you go to sew it. So all your sewing lines, if you're not a perfectionist or you don't have a particular like fancy stitch you use, it will be hidden when you pull it right side out. The only other thing that you can add to this is eyes, and they would go here and here, but because it is only 3 rows across, you might not want eyes, especially if you only have this kind of weighted yarn. You would need a yellow and a black, and honestly, because it's so small, I would be recommending using something like the Rainbow 8-4 or Cotton Friends 8-4 from Hobby, because you can use It's a nice soft yarn, and you can use a really tiny hook with it so you could achieve those eyes. I'm going to actually make the eyes in a different video because the purpose behind this video was making this. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and get this sewn up and the ends weaved in so you can see what it looks like finished. Okay, here we are. It is back and it is beautiful just as it is. Here's my seam. And it will give a good stretch. It will fit just fine on our coffee cozy. I could have easily done this in half double and it probably would have fit it, like it would have fit just fine, but it probably would have given a slightly more snug appeal look. Let's see here. So this is Cece's coffee cup that's empty, so it slides off really easy and it has wiggle room, so it will definitely fit on like a Dunkin' Donuts extra large coffee. It will fit on a lot of the Starbucks cups, and if you feel that it's ever too big, you can just sew it or wash it and it will shrink some. Again, this video was for the purpose of learning how to do this concept, not to necessarily turn it into the Grinch, and to keep the video on focus. We have accomplished that, so please like and subscribe because I will be adding the Grinch eyes in the week to come for this, and to do it for the scarf, which I showed earlier in this video that I was working on. It's right here. It's still in progress. There are lots of patterns out there for the scarf. There are lots of just general patterns for C2C to do the Grinch. So if you're impatient, want to go check that out, there are plenty out there. I will be linking Stitch Fiddle in the description, and that's where you can go and make your own graphs. You can make a certain amount free without the paid account, but the paid account is actually really cheap. And I will do a video just focused on it one day to, again, minimize time. And the pattern I'm doing is off the cuff, my own design for this, so I'm sure it will identically match some other people's scarves. But I will share that in the video that is for this. So please like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff so you can keep updates, and I hope you enjoy being able to do C2C projects now.